inside Mandalay Bay, the site of Devin Haney's title defense against Jorge Linares. I'm Chris Mannix from Dazn, the co-hosts of the Dazn boxing show. Ak and Barak here ringside as well. Fellas, we got a good fight out of this one. Devin Haney picking up a win, defending his title, but Ak facing adversity for the first time.
Yeah, look, I mean, we've been saying it all week. This was a step up, all right? He was going to face adversity. So why is anybody complaining about it? I was on Instagram, people were saying he was hurt on the 10th round. But that shows that he's a championship-level fighter. He can deal with adversity. He even said it in the ring with you, Chris. He said, hey, you guys praised Ryan for getting up off the canvas, and I got hurt, and I stayed in there and dug deep. So he made a great point.
Well, he actually said he was never hurt. But we saw he was a little bit wobbly. But if you ask me, he came back in the 11th round, got his legs, and did what Floyd did against Sugar Shane. Yeah. Took over that round, and maybe the 12th round was a little shaky, but he proved himself. I think he proved himself to himself.
Brock, tell me more about that, because Devin came in, and there's all this outside chirping about he's got to be more entertaining. He can't just coast to finishes. And he fought like he heard that. I mean,
Yes.
he fought more in the pocket, statistically, than he has ever had before.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. He was hearing the complaints, the boos, and what he did was he put it on 100 miles per hour the first maybe 5 rounds. And maybe he should have paced himself. Maybe he should have turned it on a little bit later. But he came in out the gate going hard, and that's what people wanted to see.
Let's remind people that Jorge Linares is a 3-division champion, right? And this was a fight where he had to leave it all on the line, his last hurrah. So we knew we were going to get a great version of him, at least a really solid version. And that's what we got. Devin dealt with it. Honestly, early in that fight, Chris, I thought that Devin was on his way to stop Linares. He was in a rhythm, like Barak was mentioning. He was walking him down, landing every shot at will. But Linares showed that he was in there for the long run.
You know what happens sometimes? It's like, okay, Linares got knocked out, stopped 5 times, right? But then you get the Linares that goes back to Japan. The Linares that says, I want to really win a title again. I want to be that guy that I used to be. So now you get the hardest Linares ever, and you're going to get the blame for not stopping him. Meanwhile, that was the best version of Linares.
Yeah, and people that look at Linares' record, they don't note that Linares doesn't get one punch knocked out. He doesn't get starts in these fights. You've got to wear him down and beat him down like Lomachenko did and like several others have in the past. And I think Linares still has a decent future in the 135-pound division, Brock.
Wow.
If you saw that performance and whatever scorecard you had, he was competitive, especially in the later rounds. He did not look like a shot fighter.
No, he didn't. And that's what people were assuming, that he would be dangerous early in a fight and not late in a fight. He did the total opposite. I mean, I was impressed with Linares. I mean, I don't know if he can compete with the elite fighters of the world, but I want to touch on the decision. People were saying if he cruises, it's going to be somewhat of a not entertaining fight, right? But honestly, it was a total opposite. Because there was impactful punches, power punches landed by both guys. You can tell Devin was trying to stop him. So that effort alone made the fight entertaining. It was the complete opposite from boring. Super entertaining, super performance.
What did you think of the way Devin finished? I mean, he was hurt in that 11th round, and look, he wasn't the same aggressive guy in the early rounds in the 12th, but he didn't just run away from Jorge Linares.
Some people fold. He showed the heart of a champion. He showed how to survive when he was a little shaky, when his legs was a little shaky, and he came back and he performed. And I think, all right, he says he wasn't hurt. He was wobbled a little bit, but he stood his ground.
But listen, skills pay the bills, right? He was hurt, and he didn't take big risk in the 12th round. He clinched, he held on, he wanted to finish the fight, he knew he had the fight in the bag. I don't think we needed to see him let it all out and possibly get clipped in that last round.
That's
after
veteran
a great
moves.
performance.
Especially
right,
when
course.
you've never really been hurt before. You've never been touched before where you get a little wobbly.
Uncharted territory for him.
And he knew what to do. He knew what to do not to get stopped.
Best performance of Devin Haney's career against the toughest opponent of his career. So that is a real feather in the cap for Devin Haney. So let's talk about what comes next. Devin Haney has a version of the WBC 135-pound title. Teofimo Lopez has another version of the 135-pound title.
The version you really don't like.
I don't like either version. I think they're all kind of messed up.
No,
but
the version Devin has was the same one Muhammad Ali had.
Okay,
it's the regular.
That's fine. But if you have the head of the WBC running around on your show saying that Devin Haney or that Teofimo Lopez is undisputed, it throws things in a little bit of flux. It creates a mess that doesn't need to be made. But as I said after the fight, There's an easy way to fix this. Teofimo Lopez is just down the street working out in Las Vegas, and he said all week, hey, make Devin Haney my mandatory. Hell, make me Devin Haney's mandatory. Whatever you have to do to force a purse bid and get rid of that other 135-pound title. Look, Teofimo Lopez was never meant to have this version of the title. The franchise championship is not supposed to be transferable. It's supposed to go to the one guy it's handed to. So, this is a simple situation for me. Mauricio Suleiman, order a purse bid and make that fight happen.
No, that's ideal, right? The credit to Mauricio's credit, he did tell us that maybe he needs to rethink this franchise thing and maybe switch things up.
Rethink. Put it back in the Cracker Jack box it came out of. I mean, come on, rethink it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's confusing to the fight fans, no question about it. I think that this performance, I think the WC, they have to make some serious changes, but I honestly think that we're going to see a Teofimo-Devin Haney fight. That performance, you know, it warrants that. And there's nothing else left for either fighter.
Listen,
after if he gets past Gamboa.
How many times we've seen the WBC or any sanctioning body order fights? Order it. Just order it right now, or take these belts away, and then, you know, we won't have this problem.
So let's talk about this, Ak. You've seen a lot of Teofimo Lopez. You just saw, I think, the best of Devin Haney, at least when it comes to facing adversity. Teofimo Lopez texted me right after the fight just a picture of a dish with a fork and a knife next to it. So that implies he wants to feast on Devin Haney. How do you think?
What he's saying is that's food. He's food. That's what he's trying to say.
I'm the whitest guy in the fight. So what am I supposed
He
to
don't
do?
look like food, though. Devin looked like a fighter in there. He didn't look like food.
He did look.
But I like the confidence.
I mean, it's too early for me to even think about how that fight plays out. You know, I need to get first. The fight needs to be signed first, and I'll start, you know, thinking about how it plays out. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be an explosive fight. Teofimo is known to be the harder puncher, right? I think Devin is going to be in there, going into that fight like really sharp. He faced adversity. He got hit with a big shot, obviously, against a guy like Teofimo. You know, he can't take those type of shots. But I think that fight can be a 50-50 fight because of Devin's skills.
Yeah, I agree. And Barack, I think that iron sharpens iron, right? And Devin Haney needed this if he's going to go into a Teofimo Lopez fight. His resume would have been kind of C-ish level fighters going to a young man who is an A-level fighter. Dealing with Linares the way he did, I think that makes Devin Haney more dangerous against Teofimo Lopez.
100%. And let's not get caught up and say, okay, he got hurt by Linares, so now he can't take Teofimo. You know why he got hit? By making a mistake. Right. When you fight a better fighter, you tend to not make those kind of mistakes. And I think that's what it is. But I think he showed his heart. This reminded me when Broner fought Maidana. He showed his heart. Whether he got hurt or not, he showed his heart, and that's what he proved himself today.
Go ahead.
No, Teofimo has to obviously get past Kambosos, right? And we expect that to happen. And Devin Haney, this is his last fight on Dazn, accordingly. I mean, at least that's what I've been hearing. So, I mean, is it going to be easier to make the Teofimo fight now or more difficult?
I mean, that's the kind of thing, though, guys, where it's like, who gives a damn where the fight happens? Like, if you're a fighter, like, does Teofimo...
I get my paycheck here.
If you're a fighter, if you're a fighter. If you're Teofimo Lopez, do you care that your paycheck for the next fight's being signed by Triller?
No.
It's going to be like $3 million. So what do you care who's signing that paycheck? That's why I love the idea of a purse bid. Like, make top rank Eddie Hearn make the biggest bid, and whoever wins, that's where the fight goes. It's almost too simple not to happen.
Now, Chris, I'll put you on the spot. Early in the week, we were on the show, and you mentioned if he cruises to 11-1 victory, it's not a statement. Do you retract that? Do you think he made a statement tonight?
No, look, well, A, it wasn't an 11-1 victory. I mean, that was a tough fight. B, it was the way he fought. He stood in the pocket and traded. I thought against Gamboa, it was stick and move around against a guy in his late 30s that wasn't anywhere near as dangerous at lightweight that he has been in previous weight. So even though he won a decision, I thought Devin Haney showed something real in this fight.
I agree with you. I thought it was a statement. I mean, there's no better performance that he could have put on. Being hit from a guy that's that experienced and successful, I'm not surprised by that. I told Barack early on, I said, I think he's going to get clipped with a shot at some point in that fight and face adversity. It happened late in the fight, and he finished strong. Look, I thought this, I agree with you, the best performance of his career against the best opponent. You can't act something better than the kid.
Absolutely.
All right, we will see what happens next for Devin Haney. These guys, what happens next Monday, the Dazn Boxing Show. The two co-hosts do a great job every single day of the week. We'll be back here on Dazn on June 19th. Jaime Munguia, a middleweight, back in action against Maciej Sulecki. That should be an all-action fight as well. See you next time.